Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, Diane Doheny is back with me this week to discuss the infinite way. We want to try and explain Joel's work to you. We had a wonderful time in our last session, but I kind of wonder if we shouldn't break it down a little bit for you because we like to live mystically, and we want to try and explain that. So welcome back.
Thank you.
The principles of the infinite way, oh, they're simple. They're so simple. Omnipresence. Let's start with the fact that we're all one. Let's start with the most basic. I and my Father are one. There's no good and evil. There are no two powers. Now maybe you can help me with how to explain what are the two powers? Good and evil? Fear and love?
Are there two?
Yeah.
Are there two?
Are there two? Are there two?
Well, I think the way Joel explains, there is one God, there is one power, there is one infinite love, infinite life, eternal.
Yeah.
And yet, we are human beings, and our ego is subjected to
Why did we do that to
influence.
ourselves?
Yeah, I don't think we can help it, and I think he's pretty understanding himself. I don't think we mean to.
You think he forgives us?
Yes. Oh, I believe we're forgiven all the time. Forgive them, God, they know not what they do.
Yeah.
I think that we are influenced a great deal. Oh my gosh, during the political season, during the weather, during all the outside influences.
Sure.
We have a tendency to judge. And that's where we build the two camps.
Yes.
There's good and bad and right and wrong, and that's where all the problems, I believe, and the trauma and the drama, I should say, begins.
You said that so well. There's one power, there's one God, and He's all good and He's all love, and there's nothing else
That's
going
the
on.
simplicity.
Yeah.
If we could stay there, heaven on earth, fourth dimension living.
Yeah.
But
Now, that's a good question, because Joel talks of the fourth dimension. I notice healers today are talking about the fifth.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference?
It's probably a seventh. I think it's the deeper and deeper that we go below the noise, below the confusion, the mesmeric influence as he talks about. I think the deeper we go into the silence, I think that there is a whole other realm.
Yeah.
How do you think?
There's a great equation, too, about going into the silence. I love the way you said that, because the deeper that, if you're really needing it and you're a little lost, you got to be patient with yourself and give yourself that time to really go within until you really get there.
Absolutely.
You know, and even if your head prattles, I notice Joel says, just let it.
Oh,
You know, don't fight it.
Yeah, that committee up there is going to be going on all the time. You know, when you said that, it reminded me of recently I went to an Infinite Way class, and again, I told you in Arizona.
Yeah.
And this was Kenny Lasowski's class. It was wonderful to be with Infinite Way students, 60 from all over the country for a week. I mean, we are on the fourth dimension for majority of the week.
Yeah.
We do a day in silence on Wednesday. There is no talking. There's no chatter. And yet, everyone goes to the same place. We all know it, sometimes for the first time, but everyone seems to, I don't know how to explain this, but you travel in a different realm.
Yeah.
And I think that's why when they talk about fourth dimension, fifth dimension, it's without that internal chatter.
Yeah.
And that comes directly from silence and from going within.
I like to say sometimes, I'm not here. I am not here. I am not from here. I have this body, yes, I have this mind. We're instruments, but I know that soul, the invisible part of me, is really who I am. I mean, this is honoring how perfect we are is very helpful. Going into that space where the experience of feeling good, I love the way you said that, feeling good. Yeah. Because there's a lot that we don't feel good about that we have to work through.
Absolutely.
Joel said it wasn't going to be easy.
No, and in fact, you know, I always say, I'm in this world, but I'm not of it. When I'm conscious, I'm not of it.
Yeah.
And yet, and Joel also said, and many, many teachers have probably reiterated it, it doesn't mean things aren't going to happen because we're on a spiritual path.
Yeah.
But boy, is it going to be easier.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
in many ways, we're given green lights. If we are conscious of the time and the space that we spend pre-praying before we go into meditation, and I love that expression. Again, I'm borrowing these from all sorts of people. I guess there's no plagiarism.
That's okay.
There's no plagiarism in the Infinite Way.
You may be sued.
We share all the information. But I believe to go into that state of pre-prayed and prepared before you go into the meditation, it helps the committee up there quiet down.
Yeah.
And then you find that level of deep, deep silence.
Joel says something that will come to you will give you that click. If you have to rest in trying a few ideas, it's a good thing to do to remember. And our studies, Joel does not say don't study. I
Right.
mean, he thinks that's all wonderful, but it's to take you to the place where it's a challenge, and it's a beautiful
Absolutely.
challenge. And you know, why do we love challenges? I think it's exciting.
Well,
I
you
mean,
find something new about yourself.
yeah,
You know, you're a new creature.
yeah. I mean, not that we get bored, but we can. I think
sure.
we're all so creative and we're so mission bound, and we're
Right.
given something to do that you want to make it richer and you want to keep
Right.
making it better.
Right.
I think that's within us, don't you?
I do. And again, you know, that ego has to be in the world. We need an ego. We need to know, okay, we drive 55
Yeah.
miles an hour. We have an
You need a
automobile.
license.
Yeah.
Have you had your vaccination?
Yeah, really, all the rules and the laws and the conditions and the programs. And I think that, again, from what I've gathered from the Infinite Way, I mean, I read about meditation before I started meditating.
Yeah.
I would read, you know, whether it's Thunder of Silence, you know, and The Art of Spiritual Healing.
Yeah.
All these books I would read about and know that it was the truth.
Yeah.
But then, you know, into my everyday 9-to-5 reality, try to do something. Well, when I'm trying, I'm not there.
Yeah.
There's something that does, and it takes patience, I believe,
It takes
that
patience.
we do cross over to that place where we're really tuned in and
I
listening.
know.
You know?
Yeah. I just love the idea that we're so loved,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all so precious. And God just wants the very best for all of us. And it's there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's
It
the
is.
simplicity of the Infinite Way. Everything's there. Everything's perfect. And I used to chuckle at my dad when he would, with his Christian Science, about these platitudes. And, you know, it was easy to tease when you were a little kid and you didn't quite understand about, what do you mean I'm not sick, or my appendix don't need to come out? You know,
Right.
some of those war stories.
Yeah.
Now I'm laughing because my kids can now do that to me if they want.
Yeah.
But I mean, to live as a mystic, not everyone is automatically going to understand you. Joel wants us to be discerning.
Absolutely. I know I'm
Help me with
plagiarizing
that.
again. Yeah, I'm plagiarizing again here, but whoever said it, and I do know. It's like, you know, when you do good deeds, oh, you're going to be a hero. Everybody's going to love it. But when you do God deeds, you're going to be misunderstood at times, sometimes crucified.
I know.
Because there is a lack of understanding. And it's considered almost blasphemy.
Yeah.
To say, I deal again on, there's a very thin line when I'm working in my office, because I believe I'm teaching spiritual principles, and I believe to the best of my ability I'm living those. I hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And yet when people come in and they're suffering, and I try to change the language first.
Good.
One man came in and he would continue to talk, oh, this is such a struggle, and it's a struggle. I said, do you well not to use that word anymore? Because our words are very powerful.
Yeah.
But if you're
Yeah.
not going to struggle and you're not going to have to do something, who's in charge? Now that's a real transition for people.
Oh, yeah.
When we can do that, then we have a safety net.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know that there are people out there that maybe haven't reached that place yet.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
that's-
where I think I was heading, about discretion. I think we can trust that we will attract like souls. And I don't know about you, but if there's something going on in my life that's just not a match, we got to be okay with that.
Right.
Sometimes, the martyr in me who thinks it's got to work for everybody, it can't always work for everybody, because everyone might be in a different place. And as you say, they might look at you like you don't want them to talk about you to your neighbor, because they might think you're a little crazy, because of the fact that you do live in a dimension they don't understand. So how can we work with discretion? I guess we can just trust the soul.
But as you said that, you went like this.
Yeah.
Soul is within.
Yeah.
It's intimate. It's an intimate place.
That's what I mean.
And yet, most have been taught that it's going to be out there
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
going to come in and save us.
Yeah.
That's why, again, that word soul. You can say God, you can say spirit, consciousness, soul, but it has to be intimate. It has to be within.
Yeah, I like invisible energy too. I like invisible.
See again those words. Isn't
Yeah.
it amazing where we can go
I know.
with just
I know,
words?
I know. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I have to forgive myself if I can't fix it and be with everyone where they are. I think it's okay. It's okay, and that's why I think I'm sticking with Joel right now, because I really want those like minds. I want to have the support of my mission. I want to support others in their mission, and I want to serve.
That's nice.
And I think serving
That's really nice.
is a
Yeah.
is a reason to be here, and it makes you full.
Absolutely. It's interesting that you should say that, because I was thinking what we're really doing is building a network of light. You know, it is very secret, very sacred, very silent in a way, and yet there's a certain synchronicity when you meet people. Like, I love when someone tells me they know Joel Goldsmith in the Infinite Way. I have an automatic connection
You're on your
with
knees.
that. Yeah, I have an automatic connection with that person, because again, there's only one language, there's only one love, there's one, you know, one God.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting too to have many paths, and because they were all so perfect. Everyone I was on,
Yes.
I ate it up, I lived it, and that's where loving everyone where they are is key.
Yeah.
In the Infinite Way, or to be mystical,
Right.
is wherever anyone is perfect. And we were talking about kids and having to accept wherever they are. Just accept.
Right.
Don't try and fix it. Don't say, oh, I got it, maybe I can, you know.
Right. It sounds altruistic because we're going to be fixers.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the spiritual principles of healing is to, number one, recognize there's no problem.
Exactly. Oh, I love
When
that.
I go
Thank you.
Yeah, when I go into my private, quiet, healing space, I have to remember not to bring anyone with me in any conditions. And I don't know how Joel did it, but I'm still learning. You know, he really, truly, he would have calls from everywhere in the world.
know.
And within 2 or 3 minutes, I mean, I sit with an hour in my class, and that's what it feels like. I sit in my office with someone for an hour. And I'll listen to the story for a while, but then I have to just say, that's not the truth.
Yeah.
Tell me what the truth is.
Yeah.
And that's where the spiritual principles, again, we revert back to those.
Joel loves the word nothing. Nothingizing.
Nothingness, yes, nothingizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a leap. I mean, that's one that not everybody would instantly understand. What do you mean I don't have, or
Right.
I
just
don't
got
need.
the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it when people can come back, and as Christian Scientists do, they give testimony and they say, it's gone. That it's gone. That diagnosis, that tumor, it's gone.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know why we have to go through the trials and tribulations that we do, except that I know that when people finally find that something happened and they didn't do it, but a part of them did. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
I do
a
know
kind of
what
a
you mean.
vague term. But
Yeah, accepting even where you were once because you've changed, and daring to maybe defy the diagnosis.
yeah.
That takes courage.
Yeah.
And sometimes we do get help from the medical profession. I mean,
Absolutely.
my
Very
life,
much
my
needed.
life have been saved a couple of times over emergency surgery, so I can never
Right.
judge that,
No.
because as Joel says, doctors are divine too.
That's right.
So I think that's all part of the guidance of if we're here, and guidance does take us to a place where we may be able to get some help
Right.
with medical or whatever, it's okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, as much as we might prefer it to be more idealistic,
Right.
we're on a path, we're getting better, we're students.
Right.
And that's what I like about the Infinite Way, we're all students.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we use
Learning
that word
every day.
every day.
Learning every day.
Yep.
You know.
Showing up in class.
Yeah. I know
Yeah,
it.
but our friends, really, I think what we need to help them with is the privacy and the presence and the realizing and the feeling good. Boy, that was key for me from your last program. Feeling good.
Then
Yeah.
you know you're in the truth.
Yeah, you know
Right.
you're in the truth, because we should be feeling good. I mean,
I love too the expression, you come from an unthreatened being.
yeah.
There's nothing to defend, there's nothing to beat, there's nothing to win. And in this society, my goodness, we are so competitive. We are right in the midst of the political season.
Oh,
You know,
that's
and I
such a
love
great
Joel. Oh, I love Joel's on the elections, his little booklet. Did you ever read
No.
that? Oh, that's a
Oh,
beautiful.
share
I'll
that.
get it to you. It's we're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we want independence, but we know within the silence where we are and who we are.
Yeah.
You know, that's really the main
I know.
election that takes place.
Yeah, think of all the organizations and the beliefs. I mean, in every category that you can imagine, there is a variety of different beliefs.
Absolutely.
And where anyone is, I have to keep saying that for myself in accepting wherever anyone is, and you help me with that, is it's okay. Because we're all okay anyway. We're not dying. That's key.
Right.
I think Joel has mentioned that.
There is no death. And,
Yeah, and
that's
that's-
a big one to get to, because I know for myself when I'm talking to clients, and I do a lot of group work, and I try my best to know that I come from another planet, I guess, because when I start to talk in these ways, they look, what?
What?
But if there is no birth and there is no death, then we understand really what life is eternal.
Yeah.
If you're not fearing death, what's left to fear?
That's right.
You
If
know-
you can get that one.
Oh, boy. You know, and again, believe me, I am learning every day, and I humbly say to you that I really will probably be a student until I leave this dimension into the next one.
Oh, myself included.
But boy, you know, to know those principles and
Yeah.
not to be governed by beliefs necessarily
Yeah.
and the program we came in with,
Yeah.
I think that's the gift.
Yeah. Now, how do we handle the suffering we see in the world? I think that's a big hook.
We'll talk about nothingizing.
Yes.
You nothingize
Oof.
it. Yes.
That's a tough one. A
tough
plane goes down, 300 dead.
Sure. They're off into the next round.
Yeah.
But you don't tell that to a loved one who's missing and feeling lost.
Exactly.
In a higher consciousness, there is no loss, no one's missing. There is no lack, there's no limitation. Now, those sound great, but
Yeah.
when you're talking to someone, and I
Yeah.
just recently did, and this one person had a lot of loss going on,
Yeah.
and a lot of mishaps that were going on. You are there, and you in your own private, secret, silent, sacred
Thank you,
place,
secret.
you know the truth.
Yeah.
Your knowing the truth is enough to be with them, and that's what they need to know, that you are just with them. They
Yeah.
are not alone.
Yeah.
But I'm learning the hard way because I want to, you can't teach at those moments. You can't tell someone something that they are not feeling.
It's hard not to suffer with someone who's suffering.
Right,
And that is a gift.
right.
You can feel with them. I mean, Joel did say something about a rocky path. That,
Mhm.
you know, sometimes the harder it is, the more loss, maybe the more abandonment issues we have.
Mhm.
There are gifts in that because you have to struggle out of
Right.
that. You've got to find some
Absolutely.
peace.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, a rough life can be a genius life. It can be the best life because of the growth.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a little friend, and she's well into her 90s, and she's just gone through some trials recently, but she says, you know, Diane, the Lord will never give us more to go through than He will the strength to go through it. And I mean, this woman has gone through so many, but she just has a faith, a deep faith. And
Yeah.
I've talked to her about Joel in the Infinite Way,
Yeah.
which is really wonderful to be
Yeah.
able to, someone who has had the notion that God was always out there
Yeah.
or up there,
Yeah.
and yet to see her internalize it, even in her 90s, to get and to feel and to know that that is always
Yeah.
there, you know, and that she, no matter what she goes through, she's going to be safe. It's
You know,
beautiful.
what's the difference between belief and knowledge? Because I like the fact that knowledge is like, we're not
Factual
fighting. Yeah.
law.
Yes.
Well,
There is no
it's
death.
Fake
That's-
security in a way. You know, as long
Yeah.
as I know 1 and 1 is 2, I'm going to be okay. because
But the
that's a law.
knowledge of there is no death, for instance, rather than the belief, or I think if there isn't any. I mean, there's those words, the words.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I like the word knowledge because that's pretty,
Mhm.
that's accurate. It's what it is,
Right.
and we're not going to mess with it because that's the
Right.
truth.
Yeah.
Like as you say, God does not have, you know, good and evil. I mean, there's
Right.
only a pure spirit.
Beyond Thoughts and Words.
Yeah.
I love that book.
Yeah.
And I think that that's sometimes where we need to go. Words are limiting.
Yeah.
And I think that what we're trying to talk about is something that's so invisible and so infinite. We get into trouble sometimes, you know, because there's no defining what it is that we feel sometimes. And you can't get there through your head.
Yeah.
You know, it's really got to be a heartfelt.
You know, I love to tear up myself in my prayer life. I find that sometimes when I really hit something that I'm really dealing with and
yeah.
I shed those tears, I feel such joy in the capacity to feel.
Yeah, that's the
Knowing
tears of
I'm not
joy.
alone doing that.
Right. Yeah.
The prayers of the heart are, yeah, as you say, it's not
Absolutely.
out there.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's an inside job.
It's an inside job. So Joel has written, what, over 30, 40 books?
49 that I know that
Tapes.
Acropolis has more than that, I believe, too, but, and I
Yeah.
need to do a little more research, but I do know that Acropolis has 49
So
of their titles.
acropolisbooks.com is where people can order books and tapes and
Oh, it's wonderful because it gives you a description of the books.
Yeah.
It breaks down. I mean, Marty and Liz Parker, I think I told you about them. They live in California, and they did the website. It's a wonderful website because it gives you the knowledge and the direction to go if you're looking for,
Yeah.
you know, the guidance.
You know, to sit here with you, I'm chuckling because I'm not used to sitting with anybody in the Infinite Way.
Oh,
You're like number one. I mean, I have been in touch with Chris Bentley, who I think I sent you
Yes,
his
you did,
website.
yes.
He's very active, and I've communicated with him, and I really admire his work and his website. But you're actually the first person I've seen in person.
Isn't that funny? Well, you know, and I'm name dropping all over the place. I hope everyone's okay with that, because these have been my teachers. All of these people that are out in the Infinite Way. I've learned so much from each and every one of them and their own individual expressions.
Yeah.
You know, when I talked about Virginia, and I hope she doesn't mind this, but she was one of the 5 original teachers that Joel asked to carry the message.
Yeah.
And her work on the Bible and the scriptures is just amazing. And I mean, I have chills as I'm talking, because truly she is a gift. She really has that, you know, she embodies the Infinite Way principles.
Yeah.
And to have known Joel and traveled throughout the world
I
with
would
he
love
and
to
Emma.
have known him.
Yeah, 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 me too.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Well, you know, that first book that I opened up, parenthesis, I was just overwhelmed. I mean, there was absolutely no turning back. It's very interesting when something clunks on your head. And I also like the way Joel says you are put on a path, and everything will unfold for you. Just hang on.
That's right.
Yeah, just
yeah.
The
Trust.
ride is on, and just trust that whatever is supposed to happen next, it's going to happen.
Right.
Just it'll be done for you. That's what I like. Joel said it's going to be done for you.
Yeah. He had a way of gently, I think, leading people, not always gently, but mostly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he could be harsh too. I mean, believe me, I've edited his work and done the calendar and tried to pick out things that I know that people will either understand for the first time or seasoned students would understand. But he had a way of gently leading you back to yourself, your true self,
Yeah.
your true identity.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was, for me anyway, that was the importance of the work.
Yeah. Interesting for us all on the earth plane, in this dimension, in these bodies that are dense and with these minds, to know that this isn't it. I mean, that this is something that we're in a learning experience. We can grow from all of this.
One parenthesis.
One parenthesis at a time.
Right.
Yeah, we're here to serve, and I know that each parenthesis takes us closer to a special something
Right.
to do.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I want everyone to know that too, that it's, that if you're not happy and excited and feeling fulfilled in our last couple of minutes, hang on, ask.
Right.
Go within and ask. Okay, and our last 2 minutes, advice to our friends. If you're not passionate or you're not feeling like you don't know what to do,
Right.
don't give up.
No. No. In fact, that's just the beginning of a beautiful spiritual journey, because it starts with surrender, asking, helping, you know, just asking for help.
Yeah.
You know, to know the truth will set you free, but you have to know the truth.
Yeah.
And
Studying
sometimes
doesn't
it's
hurt.
Not at all. A book, a person, place, a thing, but something's going to bring you to that understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And when that happens, and then you get to see the unfolding, I don't know, I think God has a great sense of humor. Some of the funniest things can happen where it's like, oh, you got to be kidding. You know, there's fun and joy and happiness, and it shows up in so many ways.
It really does.
And you know, it's funny about feeling, we were talking earlier about feeling pain. There's such joy in being able to do that. All the ego has to go away. You have to be able to be okay with feeling.
Right.
And miracles
Absolutely.
happen with feeling.
Yeah.
Well, I have to cut away, but Diane Doheny, thank you again for
Thank you,
making this
Penelope.
trip. I really am
It was
loving
my
this.
pleasure. Me too.
So easy to sit with you.
Me too. Thank you.
And thank you, my friends, for joining me on Awaken the Dream. We will talk to you again soon.